we are going to look at just finishing up our review of polynomials. Okay, adding, subtracting, multiplying. And I will review the shortcuts. You don't lose marks if you don't do the shortcut, but you know how I said that like sometimes the shortcuts are good to know for things like thinking inquiry questions, okay? Or just to make your work a bit more efficient. All right, so let's see which ones I want to review. So first of all, expanding, it's like going from the question to the answer. Do you know what the word polynomial means? So poly, what does poly mean? Anyone know? Yeah.
Is it more than one?
Sure. It's many, yes. So polynomial, where else do we hear poly? Polygon, many sides. Polyamorous. What is that? More than one, multiple partners, right? So poly means many. Nomial, what do you think nomial stands for? Everyone's going to say numbers. It's not. It's terms. So many terms. That's what polynomial stands for. Okay. So the shortcuts that I wanted to review for you, or what I saw from the diagnostic that some of us were missing still. How's this working for me? Let's see. Yes. Okay, better. Okay, let's review squaring a binomial. And let's review difference of squares. And then we will also review distributive property. Those are three that I found students were making silly mistakes on. Okay, so squaring a binomial. That is, let's do an example in here. So if I have 2x minus 1 squared. So it's a binomial and it's squared. Wow. Okay, now some people don't copy this. Okay, some people will just say, oh, it's like this, 2x minus 1 times 2x minus 1. Yes, it is, and you could use FOIL. You absolutely could just use FOIL. I want to show you the shortcut. So to show the shortcut, I need this in the middle, is this. Square the first term, square the last term. So the first term, 2x all squared, is going to be 4x squared. Is it 1 or negative 1? What's the last term? Yeah. No, it's negative 1. Okay, so and think of it this way. If I had 2x minus 1 times 2x minus 1, and I was multiplying the last and last term, it would be negative times negative. Were you giving me the answer? Okay, so negative 1 squared is positive 1. Now the middle term, and this is the shortcut that I'd like you to practice tonight, is multiply first term times last term and double it. 2x times negative 1, negative 2x, but then double it. Okay, so I'll just write this in step form. Although I would encourage you, if you can, to do this one step in your head. So if you practice squaring a binomial, the idea is that it will take you will solve this or you will expand it in one line. We will practice as we get through it. And also, please note, this is called rapid expansion. Here are the steps. Square the first term, square the last term, and then double the product of the two terms. This, whoa, this is what we did here. We doubled the product. Remember, product is multiplication. We doubled the product of the two terms. Okay? Secondly, let's review difference of squares. Difference of squares is where you have the identical binomials and one has a minus and one has a plus. Okay? In that case, do you know how FOIL is first, outside, inner, last? I actually call difference of squares the FLE rule. I coined it. I love it. FLE because you don't do outside and inside. Okay, watch why. If I have 2x, actually minus 5, 2x plus 5, outside, the part of FOIL that is outside, whoops, is 2x times positive 5. The part of FOIL that is inside is negative 5 times 2x. And what happens with those two terms? They get canceled out. They don't exist. So when you're doing the difference of squares, it's actually just FLE, first and last. Some people try to call it the FL rule. Don't do that. That's silly. It's the FLE rule. Okay, so watch this. So FLE, first, is first term times first term, 4x squared. L, last times last, negative 25. Notice when we multiply difference of squares, because there's one minus and one plus, okay, anytime you multiply a positive and a negative, you will always get a negative answer, okay? So the difference of squares brings us to which factoring method? Binomial, well, which is, and then further on, we call it sum and difference, right? Or difference of squares. I don't know what you call it. Difference of squares, I guess. Okay, we see that? Can I show you what mistake happened with squaring a binomial? I saw that people were mixing up these two methods. So when there was a question, now you don't have to copy this because I'm showing you, or you can, I'm going to just call it a mistake. Okay. And when I say mistake, I don't mean this to like shame people. I actually see that it's really good to learn from mistakes. There was one student that in their reflection, in their goal setting, I said, how are you going to achieve your goal? And they said, I will take my mistakes, I will correct them, I will then cover them up and do it again. And I got really excited because learning from your mistake is better than just learning it. Okay? So let's learn from this mistake. So if I have 3x minus 1 all squared, the mistake that I saw was that people thought, oh, this is a difference of square. So people would expand it as 3x minus 1 and 3x plus 1. Okay, do you see that mistake? I get it. I get what the thinking was, right? It just wasn't the accurate thinking. So here, let's circle the mistake. That's the mistake. And you might be like, oh yeah, I did that mistake. It's like, oh, now I see. That's a mistake I've been doing. Okay, no sweat. Ooh, we learned from mistakes. All right. Last thing I want to go through, because this, let's look at distributive property. Where do we have space? Let's do it here. And I'm going to look at this by looking at a common mistake. And let's see if you can catch this. Okay. So this is similar to part of the diagnostic where I saw this mistake happening often. Do you see that negative in front? Okay. Sophie, can you see? Fine. Okay. If you can't, please tell me, folks. So you see that negative in front? Okay. A lot of people kind of weren't sure what to do with it. So listen to this. Deal with what's inside the bracket first. So we're going to keep that negative. Okay. How can I show this mistake? Okay, maybe I'll show the correct way. So we're going to keep the negative and we're going to expand inside the bracket. Now, there's a shortcut. What am I using? Yeah, that's right. Or actually, I like to call this SAB, square a binomial. It's a binomial, it's squared. So what do? I square the first term, I square the last term, and then I multiply the two terms and double them. Okay, now what do I do with that negative? I distribute it because it's really like a -1. And so I'm going to multiply the -1 by each term, meaning I'll end up with negative x squared minus 2x minus 1. Do you know what the mistake people made? Is they forgot to keep the brackets when they expanded. So the mistake was that they expanded properly, but they just put that negative sign. They wrote negative x squared, that's great. And then they were like, oh, plus 2x plus 1. So who can give me words to that mistake? Sophie.
They didn't take the negative, they didn't think about the
Yeah.
negatives and the positives enough.
And well, I like how you started saying that they didn't multiply it with what?
With other terms.
Beautiful. Okay, so they didn't distribute the negative, or they didn't multiply that negative to every term. And so you'll see a lot of people in the first question, you kind of got it. You might have gotten 3 out of 4, but you missed this one piece. All right, we good to do some practice? Okay, now this will return. Yeah. Yes. The first question I'll give you on the test probably will be expanding. Okay, so this will return. You want to learn it. Yeah. Now, I notice a few people are not focused, or it seems like they're not here. Come back, come into the classroom. Okay, if you have your phone out, put it away. Okay, if you need to adjust, anyone need to stand up and do some jumping jacks, push ups? Okay, if you ever are losing focus, I highly encourage that you go and run to the basement and run back up. Not walk, but actually run up and down the stairs. That'll wake you up. Okay? Okay, let's look at this first question. Okay, in this case, we're not using SAB, right? There's no binomial squared. There's no flow rule. We are just using distributive property. So I might write DP for distributive property. Is it time for a break?
No.
Okay. All right. Okay, let's do this. So I'll use some color coding. So the 2 in front of the bracket, we're just multiplying. So as I'm doing this, I encourage you to do this independently. Don't just copy what I'm doing. Okay, do it on your own and then check if we're on the same track. And then right away, la la. And in the second part, look, we get to practice our mistake. Negative 3x. We distribute the negative 3x to both terms. And then Miss Sly says, but what do I do with that 4? Do I multiply it by negative 3x? Nope. We just leave it. It doesn't go away, but it doesn't get multiplied by anything. All right. And then we collect like terms. And what I really liked in your diagnostic is that students you understand the order of terms. So you put the highest exponent first and then the exponent lowers, right? So we'll have the x squareds first. So 2x squared minus 6x, we've got negative 4x squared, negative 6 plus 15. What is it? Do it in your head. Negative 6 plus 15. Good. Positive 9x, 10 plus 4, 14. Notice I'm asking you to do things in your head, right? So if you need to do like a Kumon style practice where you just go home and practice adding and multiplying, the quicker your head is faster than a calculator. So as much as you can, okay, try to do it in your head. Great. All right, let's do the next one. So here, let's think of our action plan. We've got two things to look at. Okay, what method will we use to solve this? This will be either FOIL or just multiply everything. And then here, what am I using for the second bracket? That's the more important one. What do we call it? SAB. I want everyone to try the shortcut. Even though we have a plus, you might want to keep the answer in brackets. Okay, Victoria, can you see? You're squinting. Did you forget your glasses or something? Okay, let me make it a little bigger. Is that better? Okay. All right, let's go ahead. And so for the first part, you could do FOIL or you could just do, remember as I said, every term in the first bracket multiplies a term in the second one. So we're going to do x times x. And we're going to do x times negative 4. Okay, so you're trying this on your own. Okay, 5x times 3 is 15. Doubled is 30x. So I used the SAB shortcut. There's one shortcut I didn't use. If I were working on this problem, I would have skipped this step. I would have done this, this operation in my head, right? So this is skippable. So I've got x squared minus x minus 12 plus 25x squared plus 30x plus 9. If you like to rearrange so you have all the x squareds together, that's great. I do that part in my head. And I have a strategy that as I use a term, I'll cross it out. So I'll go, okay, x squared plus 25x squared, that's 26x squared. Okay, negative x plus 30x plus 29x, negative 12 plus 9 minus 3. So as I cross out the terms, I know I've dealt with them. And if you have a really long expression, that just helps visually see that you've dealt with all these pieces. Questions? Okay, I find sometimes students have questions of like, can I skip this step? Generally, yes. Like, as long as you're showing me some work, okay, if you go from here to here, I might question it. Like, that's not enough showing of work. But if you had one step in the middle, probably it's okay as long as you got it right. Okay. Okay, let's look at the next one. I just want to see. Okay, so we've got, is that it? Okay. Oh, my writing is so tiny. Okay. Okay, why don't you folks try that? Oh, before you try it, tell me, is there a shortcut here? Is there a shortcut? You're right, there is one. I won't ask you which one. Who can tell me which shortcut we're going to use? And by shortcut, I mean which one of these strategies are we using? Timo, do you know?
SAB.
We're not using SAB. I like that you said that. We would use SAB. So, Timo, I'm going to make you say more. If I was using SAB, what would I be looking for?
Or squared?
That's correct. Beautiful. Is there a squared here?
No, but we can make.
Ooh, that's an excellent mistake. Do you mean over here?
Yeah.
Okay, what? Tell me why we cannot.
Because different size.
Yes, that was beautiful. That was beautiful. Okay, so do you want to change your answer instead of SAB? Look at that table.
The difference of square.
Oh my God, 1,000,000 points for you. Did you see that incredible work? Team would have made a mistake, broke it down, understood it, and then got the right answer. That was like learning and you know what? I bet you Timo now has it stuck in his head a lot better. Congratulations. Yes. So this is difference of squares, or as Miss Sly likes to professionally call it, the flow rule. Okay, I want you now. Okay, before we do this, what is a possible mistake that will be done? Astrid, what's a mistake that you might see students make in this? Distribute what?
The -2.
Okay, the -2. We might forget to distribute the -2. So in order to not forget to distribute the -2, the strategy is expand the difference of squares into a bracket. Keep that bracket. Zach, another mistake you see? No? All right, go ahead and try this question.
Do you use foil for the first one, or do you have to multiply the first fraction? That's only thing.
Luke, that's such a wonderful question. Can I say it out loud? Or can you say it out loud? Folks, there's a question.
Do you use foil for the first one, or do you multiply 3 in the first bracket?
So this is the question. I'll say it a bit louder. The question was, and there isn't a clear answer. Question is, do I use FOIL for the first two binomials, or do I first multiply the 3? Where do I multiply the 3?
By the first bracket?
By the first bracket. Beautiful. So remember I said the mistake is that you multiply the 3 into both brackets? Yeah, Luke didn't say that. Okay, who can tell me the answer? So do I first do FOIL? Do I first multiply the two binomials? Or do I first distribute the 3? Liam, what is the answer?
It doesn't matter because it's multiplication.
It doesn't matter because it's multiplication. Okay? So you can choose your own adventure. It's kind of exciting. You can do one or the other. Yeah. Thanks. If you want to talk to someone as you do this, great. I encourage collaboration. And so I'm putting the solution down. Look at it to help you or to check. Please don't just copy. Yeah.
Just have a question. Why did you FOIL? Why did you put plus 8x first and not negative 5?
Oh, because O stands for outside. Because I don't do FOIL, Timur. What I do, and this is good for you. Okay, I don't do FOIL because I just say each X has to multiply each of these. 4 has to multiply each of these. So I don't care about the order. I'm just going to go X times this, X times that, 4 times this, 4 times that. And so in my head, I did this, 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 this.
But would FOIL be correct?
Did you get the correct answer?
Like,
If you follow along, did you get positive 3x?
no.
In here, not in the final answer.
Oh. No.
Pardon?
No.
So you would have gotten negative 5x plus 8x?
It would be. Oh, it's too scary. Yeah.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
So that order doesn't matter as long as the signs are correct.
Yeah, but I just got the ends and minus 9x.
Oh, so you might have made a mistake somewhere.
Okay.
I did FOIL and I got the same as you.
I wonder where your mistake would have been, Timo. So did you go 3 times? Yeah.
Can I do distributive property first, even though it's not widely popular?
Not at all. No. I said choose your own adventure. Yeah.
Even for the second one?
Yes. Yeah. But Greg, I really want you to catch those shortcuts. Okay? Yes, it's fine. It's correct. I won't mark it wrong unless I give a question that says use as many shortcuts as possible, right? But if I say just expand, then you do it. Okay? All right, folks, more questions. I love your question. Did you know that I get paid to answer questions? That's how I get my salary. It's $5 per question answered. So the more questions you ask, the richer Miss Sly gets. So please. I'm joking. Yes, Zach.
The 3 that has exponent 2, you have to use exponent first and make it to 9. How can you multiply?
Sorry. I don't know where you're talking about.
X2 minus 2.
Yeah.
You have to use the exponent first for negative 3.
I actually don't do an exponent. Like what I do is I just go negative 3 times positive 3. Do you see how I just got negative 9?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's why I call it the flow rule, because it's first term times first term, last term times last term. Yeah, you could do it. Does that clear it up?
Yeah.
All right. Other questions? Okay, I want to. So, do you notice how I'm saying let's not do FOIL? Let's not do FOIL. FOIL is great for grade 10, but FOIL is not great for this. Okay, you ready for the next one? Just gonna make it up. Okay, what are we gonna do? What are we gonna do? Yeah. Yes. Whoa, wait. Let me. Okay, yeah, let's just do that. Okay. So use a shortcut when available. So what's the name of the shortcut we're going to use? What's the acronym? Is it FLU? Is it SAB? Is it distributive property? SAB, right? Square a binomial. So again, as Liam told us so wonderfully, when you multiply, the order doesn't matter. Now, how do I know what shows me in this example that I'm multiplying? Excellent. Brackets. Brackets means I'm multiplying. So watch this. I'm going to leave the x plus 3 because I'm first going to use SAB, square a binomial, to expand. Try to do that in one step. Square the first term, square the last term. You're racing. Come on. I'm not there yet. And then the middle term, multiply one term times the other and double it. So 2x times -1 doubled is minus 4x. And this is where FOIL breaks down, right? Because there's no first, outside, inner, last. Like, what do I do with the second bracket? So this is why I'm saying don't do FOIL. But instead, every term in the first bracket gets multiplied with every term in the second bracket. Let me show you. So let's change colors. Anyone feeling kind of magentish? Where is my magenta? No, I'm feeling magenta, but I don't know where it is. Where'd you go? That's red. Fine, we'll do red. All right, so the x. X has to multiply one term, two term, three term. It's a triple rainbow. Okay, so I'm going to do that. And then the 3 multiplies every term in the second bracket. 1, 2, 3. So without doing it, think about this. In your second line, how many terms do you expect to see? Show me with your fingers. How many terms do we expect to see if I'm not doing any shortcuts? 6. Muy bien. Good. 6 is 6 in German. So yeah, we're going to see 6 terms. 4x cubed. So what I'd really like is for you to understand what we just did in this one step and why I drew those triple rainbows. And if you don't, please put a star next to it or a question mark and come in at lunchtime and get clarification. Okay, this is how you're going to do well in this course if you make sure that your questions get answered. All right. And then we do something I call CLT. 10 points for someone who can decipher my acronym. CLT. Marley? 10 points are away. Excellent. All right. So I only have one x cubed term, and the x cubed goes first. 2x squared terms. Oh, I use the same color twice. What was that, Greg? There was some big learning happening here.
Well, so on the practice, on the second one,
Yeah?
it's like 3 terms in the bracket on both sides.
Yeah.
And I know why on that one we didn't multiply everything by everything, but it's because of the plus sign.
Oh, yes. Let me show you what Greg just realized. And this is excellent. Okay, there was like I'm just going to make something up.
Yeah.
Right. And Greg is like, why aren't we doing this? And why is it, Greg?
Because of the plus sign.
Yes. So instead of multiplying the trinomials, we are just adding them. Excellent. Okay, I'm going to give you 11 points for that. Okay, now one thing I wanted to come back to is, folks, I stopped. I didn't keep going, right? And I think some of us might be like, but is this factorable? Can I factor it? Okay, now what are we doing in this lesson? Does it give us a word? Okay, it says simplify, which could be a bit tricky. For now, we were just expanding. But as we move on, tomorrow, the day after, we might actually, because we're going to be factoring and having rational expressions, meaning we're going to have fractions with all this stuff, we might actually want to take this trinomial and check, is it factorable? Okay? But for now, we're going to stop right there. Okay. Any questions from the lesson? Do you have homework today? Aw, isn't that fun? Thank you, Miss Sly, for caring enough about us to give us homework. All right, so can I tell you about the homework? So these are the suggested questions. Now, you might say, I don't want to do all of them. Is that okay? Yeah, choose your own adventure. You might also say, I'm going to do every second question. And if I feel I need more practice, I'll go back and do more, right? Or I'll do some of them tomorrow. No problem. Now, which questions should you definitely attempt? Which ones? What's the word there that's like, yeah. Yeah, which one is it, Sophie? No. There's specific ones in this row that's like, I'm definitely going to try these. Which ones are they, Zach? Pardon?
Not sure.
There's one word. Yeah, what is it, Kajik? The ones that say extension. What is extension? Look at my brain. This is what happens when I do an extension. It's going to hurt, right? Your head might be like, I'm learning too much. I'm trying. Okay. What it means is these are the hard questions. These are the questions you want to develop a math resilience for. Have you heard that term, math resilience? It means trying a question that is really hard and you don't know what you're doing and you still try like 3 different things. That's how you're going to do well with those thinking in free questions. Okay, I'm going to pause the recording. I'm going to see if I can upload it.